What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens ranking video. Today, guys, we are going to be ranking the duels from episodes 10 through 20. If you don't remember this series, as I don't do this often as I do it every 10 episodes. What I'll do is I will go over the 10 episodes of the Yu-Gi-Oh! 7 series and rank either the episodes or the duels. I'll normally do those in separate videos, and in this video we're going to be ranking episodes 10 through 20 duels that appeared in Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens. Now you might be asking, well, isn't that technically 11 episodes? Why are you doing that? It's because of the fact in the last video that I did, I only did 9 because there was a hiatus that ended up happening. I wasn't going to wait for it, so it's like, you know what? To get some content for that little break that we had, why didn't I just start it early? And that's why we're only going to be doing technically it's supposed to be 11, but episode 14 didn't have a duel and 12 and 13 shared a duel. So technically there's only 9 duels in this last 10 episodes. So it's really just the same thing as we went over last time, but still I think it would still be noticeable because I'm recording this before I do the episode one. I don't know which one is going to be uploaded first. It just depends what I feel like uploading first. I'll probably upload the duels one first, then the episode rankings. But yeah, without further ado, and also I'll just do this for the rest of the time going forward. I'm gonna be doing a lot of videos for this week. I'm almost gonna do like a full week of videos, and I explained this in the episode review that I did. If you guys have a suggestion of a video that you want me to do and kind of discuss, make sure in the comment section below with the hashtag VI or VT, tell me a video topic that you guys would like to see, and I will do the best of my ability that I can to make that video, unless it's impossible for me to answer. And that's what I'll be trying to do for a video topic, just to try to get a little bit more, because I do a lot of random stuff on here, and I also explain in that episode review what I'm doing. So if you don't watch Yu-Gi-Oh! 7, you're more just interested in just other types of Yu-Gi-Oh! content, this is your best opportunity to do so. And which, if you don't like Yu-Gi-Oh! 7, you're probably not been on this channel, but still, I'm trying to branch out myself. So if you want to suggest a video, just leave your idea with those hashtags, and you'll be good. So yeah, without further ado, let's get right into the rankings. Now, for these rankings, again, we do have 9 contending duels for this ranking system, and we got Rook versus Yoshio, Roman versus Gakuto, Yuga versus Roa, Yuga versus Maguru, I believe I'm saying his name right, Roman versus Ariarada, Rook versus Schrodinger, Yuga versus, oh, wait a minute, no, Roa versus Geta, I about skipped that duel, Yuga versus Sebastian, and then our last one that ended up carrying in episode 20, which was the duel between Mimi and Yoshio. So those are the contenders for this, just to inform you guys if you don't remember 10 episodes back. So, without further ado, guys, let's go into the rankings. And kicking this list off at the very bottom, I know this is going to immediately start some debate down in the comment section below, but that is alright, I understand, but this is just because of me, and that is Roman versus Gakuto. My biggest issue with this duel in particular, well, there is a couple of factors in this that I just really did not like about this duel that made it just put it so low on the list. And the first thing is the result. I know a lot of you guys are going to say, well, the result had to happen the way it did. It had to be a 1-1 scenario. And I'm fine with that. It's honestly not a big deal, even though I feel like Gakuto needs to win more. I feel like you can work around when Roman still have the same story, but have her lose. Gakuto doesn't really have anything right now. And I feel like that win can help him show himself as a strong character. He's lost 2 duels already, and I'm worried if he duels in these next 10 episodes, he's just going to lose, and probably might be one of the reasons why they get a penalty. Who knows? But that is just really scary, and I don't want to think about that in a character. I don't think I can think that way with Roman, because Roman already got a win with Aria Arata, which we'll be talking about that duel a little bit later on. But I just feel like for where Gakuto is at right now, I think he needed the win, but it's not a main reason. The main reason I have a problem, and this is just for me personally, is how Roman dueled in that episode. I didn't like the whole hangry concept thing. I know it was a joke, it was supposed to be funny, but I liked the more what the outside was going on more to the duel, because with this, I only focus on the duel. I don't focus on the episode itself, everything that's going on around the duel, even though that kind of can cause it. Like, how Rook was eating the sushi, and that made Roman go insane. I just didn't really like that, and this is kind of gonna tie into that Ariarada duel too, is I don't like how she's using it as well. It feels like when she mainly uses her power, it's on the final turn of the duel, and I feel like she's just I don't think abusing it the right word is. I think it's just how do I explain it? I guess it's just like I don't like the fact that she has to rely on it as her last resort, that she has to win the duel using that. And obviously maybe she could do it with that. This duel she couldn't do anything because she was just starving basically because her cousin basically was starving her, which is already messed up as it is. And the dueling action was okay though. I mean, it was cool seeing Roman's deck. I'll give the benefit of that. I really do like Roman's deck. I think it is a very interesting deck, and I think this is also the duel that we get introduced to. I can't remember her first name, but it's like of the Smashing Lights, I think was what her name was. So I think that's really really cool that we got to see that monster. We didn't see anything new for Gakuto other than one monster that was basically like two defenders to help protect Yamai Ruler, but other than that, I think it was just an okay duel. I don't think there was anything special. Maybe it's just because we didn't get to see too much new. I think the only thing was Roman's deck and then the new Ace monster, which again was still cool, but those issues that I had at the beginning just were major problems for me. I just can't look past it. I originally had her a little bit higher, but kind of thinking back on it, I just still had a problem with it. I tried to give it a fair chance, but I just couldn't. And if you guys disagree with me on this, I completely understand. This is just me personally. Maybe it's just because I've watched so many anime with this kind of like plot convenience where there's like, oh, there's this character has this type of power. I mean, that's basically anime for you. All anime is gonna have that, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting tired of it. I have really no idea, but even though I like both of the characters, they would be my top 5 characters still, even though after that last episode, I have to sadly put that as my least favorite duel from the 10 episodes duel. Not my least favorite duel of the entire series, I'll give you that much. Out of the last 20 episodes, I don't think it would be that low. I'll give that the benefit of the doubt, but sadly it has to be ranked at the bottom of this list at number 9. Coming up next, we got the duel between Rook and Schrodinger. I was really kind of contemplating between this one and the last one we went over. The biggest issue that I had with this duel as well, and I know it might sound like I'm complaining a lot, but I feel like some of these duels in this arc were not as strong as some of the ones from the first arc. So I guess I'm gonna have some different like thought processes when kind of comparing them together. The thing that I didn't like as much, and maybe it's just because it's the character himself, but this was the first duel in the Yu-Gi-Oh series that it actually felt like a one-off duel. We had the Schrodinger cat, which was the first person to duel of Neil's crew, which is understandable, being the least favorite out of the bunch. That's a good sign. That's honestly a really, really good sign. But I still couldn't look past the fact. I think one of the biggest things I liked about it is we got to see a new dragon for Rook. I think it was pretty cool, even though it was my least favorite dragon. I really do like its design a lot. And the nostalgia factor in this, that's honestly what boosted it so much, because if it wasn't for the nostalgia, this duel would probably be my least favorite out of not only just of the duels that we've gotten in the last 10 episodes, but probably my least favorite so far in the series, because Schrodinger just felt like such a one-off character. We didn't get any backstory on him, and we just got nothing about him. We got no interactions with him, and all I know, I'm kind of talking about the episode itself, but that kind of pertains to the duel as well. But seeing a blue eyes white cat and a red eyes black cat and an odd eyes twin tail cat, I believe was his name, to represent blue eyes, red eyes, and odd eyes, was really really cool. And even like his strategy was pretty interesting, where it was all about flipping the top card of your opponent's deck, which I guess became kind of luck-based, even though Rook the entire duel just picked monster to hope to God that he had a monster on the top of his deck. In fact, he even forgot what he had when the last turn, because he was freaking out about Yuga becoming the king of duels, stuff like that. That was really bothering him, but yeah, there isn't really much to talk about in this duel. There just really nothing happens. We did to see what happens when you lose a duel. You just go flying through the floor. Well, except for the last duel, and well, actually the last 2 duels. I don't know for this concept wet, but yeah, there wasn't really much special about this duel. We just got to learn about more Neil and stuff like that. We got to get introduced to him more, but again, that's going to be in the episode ranking video. So for the duel itself, nothing too special. So it is sadly going to sit at 8th on this list. Also, before I go further on, I do want to apologize for my voice. I'm actually recording this after I got back from work. It just started cracking. Now, and this is the third video that I've done. I already did the summary video and the episode video, and I still got 3 more to record. So, yeah, my voice is going to be tired after this. But getting back onto the topic, coming in at number 7 on this list is Roman versus Arya Rata. I know Roman's duels are a lot lower than I think a lot of people would like them to be, but honestly, I just couldn't really get past the fact. It was kind of the same reason as the last time, where I just don't like how Roman is using her power. I feel like it would be a lot better if she just used it at the beginning of the duel, except at the very last turn of not just her turn, but the entire duel, because she goes into this mode and then wins the duel, and I don't like that at all. And also Arya Rata, another character I didn't really care for that much. I mean, he didn't interest me at all. In fact, he actually cheated, which there's sometimes I like cheating in certain situations, and there's sometimes that not. This one I didn't really mind it that much of him cheating. He was using a button on his dual disc where he can actually bring a card back through the 7 on his dual disc and bring out whatever spell and trap spell or trap card that he wanted, and then can activate it and acted like he was watching a dual disc. The thing with this duel too is that there wasn't really much difference from it. I think it was really cool how, like, when Arya took the monsters from Roman, that when they were getting destroyed, they kind of like turned around back at him and like kind of hit him, even though I don't think he took damage. He could have, but I'm very hazy on the duel, but I think that was the coolest part of it. I think even at the beginning, kind of like Roman, like getting over her, like kind of like struggle she's going through after what Rook said before, you know, how he still kind of doesn't trust her because of what happened. In fact, she volunteered the duel because not only did she break the plates, but she feels like she is the reason of why Rook can't trust her anymore, which he kind of was. But you know, I gave her props for stepping up onto this duel, and I did enjoy the first couple parts of it. I think were okay, and that's why it was as high as it was. But I still can't get past the fact of how they kind of did the last turn of the duel. So yeah, even though it's lower on the list, I still think it was a pretty decent duel, and it makes 7th on this list. Up next at 6, we got the duel between Yugioh and Sebastian. I'm very, very surprised I had this duel as high as I did. Honestly, I thought this was going to be last, but honestly, I did not mind this duel. After rewatching the duels, kind of memorizing what happened in the duel, I really did like it, surprisingly, because honestly, the duel itself was very interesting of how it worked, because I loved how Sebastian as a character. I didn't think I would, but his whole speed about, you know, being the ultimate chair and just like having this dark type of chair deck, I think was really, really cool. And, you know, kind of the interaction that they had was pretty good. Even like the way that he played, he actually went for an OTK in this duel, which we haven't really seen an OTK as much. Sure, we've seen people trying to eliminate their opponent in one go, but this is literally just a fashion old OTK. He had 4,000 attack point monster, was going to attack directly before Yugioh was able to negate with his trap card to have 500 life points left, freaks out, and then maybe it's just because I just don't understand anymore, even though I don't like duels that just don't make sense to me. It's because how am I going to understand a duel if I can't understand why that happens? Because I remember when he activated that trap and he was able to take Kaizo away, and Yugioh had to choose who was the real Kaizo to kind of save his 7th-row magician from returning back to the hand, which I think was very interesting. I still don't know how in the world that trap card would ever work in the card game. Maybe it's just that you had to shuffle your hand, or like give your opponent your hand, he shuffles it, and then you have to choose the 7th-row magician or whatever they decide to do it. I think the emotional point of the duel, I think I really like, because even though like you can contain that more to the episode, I actually have emotion in this duel as well, and I think that's what also made that last duel higher for me with the Rook versus Arya Rada, is the emotion that Rook was kind of giving her, even though it kind of caused that to have her basically go into that awakening state again. But I don't know. I think this emotion in this duel really helped it a lot to make this duel a lot bigger for me, to kind of understand how these characters feel against Kaizo and how they represented in this duel. And yes, I can consider it now because Kaizo was a part of the duel, so I can consider that for this list, even though that might be a little bit unfair. Honestly, if I didn't count that, it'd probably be second to, it would be third to last, actually, never mind. But anyway, I think just the emotion of the duel was just great, even though like wasn't anything special of a duel, but I think for what it was, I think it was actually not that bad of a duel. I know I just kind of counteracted myself with that, but anyway, it comes in at number 6 on this list. Alright guys, now we're at the top 5 portion of this video. I hope you guys are leaving your guys' list down below. And coming at number 5 is the duel between Roa and Geta. I actually did really enjoy this duel a lot. I think the relationship that we learned about Roa and Geta before this was really good, and I think with that helped in I guess it helped impress the duel a little bit more. I know I just used the wrong word for it. I can think straight for a second, but I think the emotion to this duel from what we got before about their past was really, really great. The dueling action was pretty interesting. I was kind of a little bit disappointed with Geta's deck at first because he played the same monsters. Literally both of his turns, he summoned the same 3 monsters, and I think the only difference between his turn is he played a different spell card, and that was it. He played the same trap. In fact, it was the literal exact same trap. He used different copies of the monster, but he literally used the exact same trap in the duel. But I think, again, this is kind of what the Sebastian duel was, is the motion of this duel. When you had, in the middle of the duel, Roa singing a song just for Geta and getting some, I shouldn't say romantic feelings. I know a lot of people, there's some that consider it a ship, and some people consider it more as a best friend, which I completely understand. Either way, I think just the relationship between them just made this duel more impactful. We got to see the new, Roa Ace monster, the invasion monster, which was really, really cool to see that. I think we also saw another one that looked like kind of like a radio. I think that looked really, really cool. And kind of like a lot of the other ones that I said before, there was not really much, or just more specific on the Neil's point, there really wasn't much to the duels, I feel like, and that's what's put this one a little bit lower, and I couldn't put it any higher, is that there really was not much to it. I think the implications of the duel, I think, made it, but it wasn't that big, I felt like, of a duel that some of these other ones, for me, it was. But honestly, being at the number 5 spot as it was, I think it was still pretty good, and it hits the number 5 spot on this list. I was really wavering between number 4 and 3, very surprisingly, but after some thinking, the number 4 choice that I decided to go with was Yuga versus Meguru. I actually did not mind this duel at all. I really did like this duel a lot, actually. I think Meguru was definitely the most interesting character, I think, out of the bunch, even though, again, it was kind of the same thing. I still haven't really cared about some of these side characters a lot. They haven't given me a reason to, except for Yoshio now. But I think just the duel itself was incredible. I think even the start of the duel was just funny, how he just dueled because he thought Yuga littered trash into the sea, so he ended up dueling him to basically, I think they were dueling to get back off the ship. That one I'm really hazy on. I actually didn't watch that. I had to watch the ones up to Roa because I just couldn't really remember it that well. But I still think the duel is pretty cool. This, honestly, this is a bias, kind of like how Dragonic Slayer was on the last list. This was the duel where we got to see Lightning Bolt Condor, a card that I've been waiting very patiently to come out, and it appeared in this episode, and I was really, really excited. I loved it summoning. It's probably my 3rd favorite, behind Dragonic Slayer as my number 1 and Yami Ruler as my 2nd, but it was still a cool summoning. I think the dueling action, I even like the fish monster that Meguru summoned in this duel. I think it looked pretty it looked pretty cool. and I just really did like this duel. I realize I'm not really explaining them that well, but I don't know. It's a side character. I don't think they're gonna really be much to talk about, but still, I think this was a pretty good duel. Even the interaction between the duo was pretty good, and it respectfully gets number 4 on this list. So let's go into our top 3. And kicking off the number 3 spot is the duel between Rook and Omayo Yoshiro. I think this one is a little bit biased of why this is high, because I do like dark themes in a show. I really do like that, and that's basically what this duel was. Sure, it didn't have like dark messed up stuff. It did. I did like when Yoshio was summoning his monsters for the first time. He would talk about different stories, even though I remember the first one very well, where he had the internal urine was very weird. The second one, I feel like anyone can have that. In the third one, I actually know about that rumor now. I kind of looked it up after I watched that duel the first time, and I thought it was very interesting with the purple mirror and what ends up happening with that. I think is a pretty interesting topic, and I just liked his deck. His deck was very interesting. It was focused around low-based attack point monsters to kind of go into his Reaper monster, which I think was able to switch attack points. No, 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 no. I think maybe it was spell cards. Again, I'm blurry on the duels. I just briefly rewatched them to kind of get an understanding and just how Rook was playing. Like, he couldn't even play an entire duel, but he was still able to pull it off. In fact, I think that no, I know that duel. This was the duel where he actually summoned Shockley Dragon, which is actually my second favorite Roa Ace monster that we've seen in the series, just behind Dragonic Slayer. I really do like the color scheme of it, and I think it's a pretty cool dragon to see in the duel. I think what makes it a little bit lower on the list is because Rook didn't really play that much. I feel like he really couldn't do anything during his turns, which kind of did hurt the duel a little bit. It just felt like Yoshio had full control. However, I also like that, because I think that's a pretty interesting thing that I don't think we've seen in a while, where basically your opponent controls the duel up to a certain degree, and I think that was very, very interesting, or if there was, I just can't remember it off the top of my head. But I think just that concept was really cool, even though I wish Rook was able to play a little bit more, but with Rush Duels, it's going to be a little bit shorter, so I understand that, but I think it was still cool nonetheless, and it does make the number 3 spot on this list. Good job, Rook, for winning that duel, even though you kept looking behind you. Which you need to look behind you. Omayo Yoshiro. I never thought in a million years that a duel would be this high on my list from any of these two characters, well, except for one I knew would maybe potentially make it, but this character I never knew it. And coming at number 2 was the duel between Mimi and Yoshio. I think just the emotion, again, it's the emotion that really just makes the duel so good in this episode. And this duel I just absolutely love. To kind of get the relationship between Yoshio and his mom, even though Yoshio didn't know his mom, and kind of seeing what they were kind of fighting for that duel, to kind of, for Mimi to show, like, she works her butt off when she goes to work. She has to get up every day to go to work. She works the entire day at Goha, comes back to take care of her son, and then basically rinse and repeats. And that really made me respect Mimi a lot, because even though I can't relate to the parenting thing, I'm not a parent, but just to kind of see how she goes through struggles. I go to work every day basically, so even though it's not a job, it's a side thing I like to do. Like, I go home every day after going to work and I'm tired, but I have to do stuff around the house. I got dogs to take care of, and then I do the recording for you guys, which honestly is an enjoyment. I'm not saying that it's a pain in the butt at all. I love doing this a lot. It's really, really fun. You guys should do it too. It's really fun. I'm just saying. But just to see that, how Mimi was kind of going through in this duel and kind of showing her son was really cool. And even Yoshio's side, what I really liked about it too is like Yoshio was trying to find his own path, and I'm going to kind of explain that when I rank the episodes themselves. I love just how, like, they were fighting for the same thing, and even it was kind of fighting for his mom in a way as well, because he understands that his mom works so hard every single day just to be able to support a kid, to make his favorite Neapolitan, no, I didn't even say that, spaghetti, right? Neapolitan spaghetti, every day so he can make sure that his son is happy, which is great. Even seeing the new Ace monster was great. To see that Leo monster on two like trucks was incredible. And just the shock results. I said before, and when I did the episode review yesterday, was that I was very surprised at the result. I thought Yoshio didn't have a chance because I thought for Goha to grow, Mimi had the win. But after kind of thinking about it, even after that episode, and even what happened at the end of it, where Yuga and Co still got a penalty, because remember, if they got six penalty during this whole Neil thing, if they get or they lose a duel, they get six penalties, and Mimi was technically a part of the group, so that was very interesting. Just the result itself was just shocking. I didn't even give Yoshio that much of a chance, but he pulled it out, and honestly, he kind of had a little bit of a fan in me. It was from me, because I really now respect the character as much as I did. I just thought him as a side character, just put on a persona, but even though he did that coming out of his suit after he took that last attack and did it as Yoshio Adachi and not whatever the heck his name is. I can't even remember what he is called, but I think it was just really, really good, and I could not put it any higher. I just liked the other duel at number one. This was very close to number one, but I think just the decks themselves and just the dueling itself was just okay, I guess. So it still makes number two, but that is why I can't put it on number one. But you know what? For a duel that I never expected to be at number two, is number two on this list and just missed out. It's my favorite duel from the last 9 duels from the last 11 episodes. Well, if you couldn't tell by now, my favorite duel from the last 11 episodes of the series, even though there was 9, was the duel between Yuga and Roa. I love this duel so much. I really do. Am a little bit disappointed though. I will start off with just a sour note that of how many turns this duel was. With it being a 2-part duel, yes, this was a 2-part duel. Technically, it still felt like they could have just done it in one episode, which sucks. I was kind of hoping with a 2-episode duel, they can maybe go 7 turns or something like that. I think this duel only went 5. Hold on, Yuga, Roa, Yuga. Yeah, it went 5 turns, which is, I guess, long, but I wish it went a little bit longer. I think 7 duels would have been perfect for a 2-episode duel, even though I think for how fast they do it, it could honestly be a 10-turn duel, but I can understand, like, that's really thinning the deck a lot, especially since Roa has hand destruction, which was really cool to see hand destruction. But to kind of also learn why Roa was going after Yuga in the first place, why he was going out to rush duels, and yes, this can be tied into the duel, I think just made the emotion of the duel really more important. It also, what I liked about this duel is the unpredictability of it. I thought the Mimi duel had some predictability, even though it was a shock result to me still. I think there can be some predictability. You say that. I had no idea who was going to win this duel, because they could have done some kind of arc with Roa if he was able to get rush duels, even though I went with Yuga because it didn't make sense at first, but after kind of thinking about it a little bit, they could have done an interesting route if Roa won or a draw, and they could still have this plot, and Yuga could have just drew with Roa. I mean, in the last show of Yu-Gi-Oh! Reigns, Revolver drew against Playmaker twice, even though technically they went straight into Master Duel, but that's besides the point. I think the motion to the duel was just really good. I really did like it, kind of seeing Otis in this, even though it doesn't have any relevance, but I think just like the kind of relationship, how those three tie together is just really cool. And yeah, it just was a great duel after all. It was the first time we got to see Roa's ace, and even the intensity in this duel, because remember, at the very beginning of the duel, before Otis kind of stepped in, the stipulation was because at the start of the duel, Sevens Road Magician was actually an illegal card, and if Yuga ever drew it in the duel, he would automatically lose. So that intensified the duel ever so more. And when he drew it on episode 12, I was in shock. I thought this was going to be a duel, well, until the preview, that I thought he lost. I legit thought he lost right there and then, and he technically should have, but guess what? It didn't end up happening. Otis stepped in and said it was a legal card, and they continued to duel for Yugioh to win the duel. So even though there was some predictability, even though I think it was a very hard to predict duel, I think just the action between it, even though I wish there was a little bit more action, this is the stipulation at the beginning, and then even seeing Roa's new ace monster. We also got to see Bravedon lie across in this duel as well, which really do like that monster as well. It just was a great duel overall, and I really did like it, and it was my favorite duel out of the last 11 episodes of Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens, episodes 10 through 20. So yeah, guys, that is going to be it for this ranking video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know your guys' ranks down below. Where would you have some of these duels? Do you agree with my list, or do you think some places need to be changed? I know a lot of people are going to have controversy with that Roman versus Gakuto duel, but I'm going to stick with it. I made the list already. I'm not going to change it, so that's where that duel is at for me. And who knows, maybe one of these, maybe after the series ends, it might be top 10. You never know. Even though I doubt it, but even though I doubt it, it might happen. So we'll have to see. But guys, that is going to be it. Thank you guys so much for watching. And until next time, guys, take care and have yourselves a great rest of your day. Bye, guys.